even though this is a terrible time to be in, it also brought out a lot of good teaching resources and created almost a community within teachers and within students to be like, hey, everybody, are y'all good? Are y'all okay? Like, it definitely bonded me closer to kids in my class. And it's like, are you okay? Because I'm losing my mind. And it's kind of it's kind of almost trauma bonded us in like some strange way.
From my middle school to like my high school, I feel like I went from a traditional school to like a, learner centered school. So I feel like a lot of traditional schools, they focus on like the majority instead of the minority. Learner centered schools, I feel like they like, more listen to their students. They listen to how they need to learn. Like they would always make the lessons interesting. And the fact that we learned about the Bronx, that was really like something that we could say was like something personal to us. Because, even if the student doesn't live in the Bronx, they still have some kind of connection to the Bronx. So I feel like it was really the fact that they focused on what would interest us instead of anything else.
Something new that I've kind of seen that my advisor has been doing with my class is letting us create our own Google Classrooms and put in our own assignments with our own due dates. And I find that a little bit more motivational because I get to do like the assignments that I feel passionate about, and I get to do things that I feel more interested about career wise and educational wise.
The old-fashioned way of teaching things, breaking the mold of that conventional experience of what school should and shouldn't be. It should break the boundaries that we have limited it before. We limited it to face to face, just a curriculum that is doesn't fluctuate, changes every couple 10 years. So many things were opened up to kids who didn't have the resources before. So when teachers needed to go online to a computer, these kids got a whole new world of resources that their low income household wouldn't have had before.
We have our different kind of ways. Like, some of us in classes, like especially learning about the Bronx unit, a lot of us would write essays about it. And others would like prefer to like write, make graphs like, oh, this is the density and show it in the graph. And a lot of other of us would just like to like make bullet points. So I feel like that really was like something that like really like got to me, because it's like, wow, like I have these many different options. Like if I wanted to, I could just make a graph, or if I wanted to, I could just use bullet points. Or me, I'm more so of the essay kind of student. But it was just the fact that we had those options that was like, yeah, wow.
Having 5 different tests a week, like that was a lot to handle because, I would get like stuff concepts mixed up. So it could be like a science test, but all I could think of in my mind was like, oh, I got a math test later, like I have to do that. Or I could have like a reading test and I'd be like thinking about science or something. So having to do a lot of big things at once, or even like having a bunch of homework per day, it's like you can get so much stuff mixed up and have different subjects and fail your homework because you mess up because you think that your brain is telling you this, but it's really this.
So thinking about it, it will be like, I mean, homework, you know? I saw something that I will say, like, if they make us, I mean, not us, but people in general, if they make it like do something like that they can learn for the future, that it can be useful and not use homework, not a lot of homework. Yeah, I think that can be better.
Like kind of chasing that stress off of kids, because I feel like if they did, then more students would be more active in class. They would turn in their homework more. They would do better on their tests. They would actually study instead of having all this stress piled on them that's making them not want to do all their work. I've done a lot more doing my own self-paced stuff and doing what I actually enjoy doing and not having a ton of stress on me than I did back at a normal school.
When the school year started, like even in the pandemic, we was going to the school and like learning about the environment, going to like, the park, tasting the water, taking care of the plants, the environment. So that's something very interesting that we did over the pandemic.
because I feel like I'm a more hands-on learner. So this whole online learning, it was difficult for me at first because I need to be like there in person, like feeling and seeing it from my eyes rather than just listening to what people have to say.
In my class, we went to the Bronx River. You know, they always say the water is dirty. So something that we did as a class was texting the water, like I mean the salinity, turbidity, and all that. So we text the water, and it was very healthy, you know, because we always see people taking care of it, cleaning it. So that's something very good that I did, and I was learning about it too.
A community, like it's more of a community, not just a bare, boring old school like you go to class to class and you don't really have that connection with your teachers, whereas here you build a connection with your teachers and it's more like a family instead of just like students and teachers.
So you know, like when you learning a new language, there's always people that makes you feel insecure and stuff. So when I first joined Fanny Lou, everyone was so friendly, even the teachers, and they always like they always was teaching me some new ways to learn English, giving me suggestions. Even the people in there, like they all friendly, you know, and supportive. That's something that make me like learn more.
I think that teachers should really get to know us. I feel like us like having that relationship with our teachers where we can trust them and like talk to them and if we ever need anything to let them know like hey, I need help with this or hey, can you help me with that or whatever. And then actually like sitting there and actually like listening to us and helping us and everything. I think it would make us feel better because us having that connection, like having that trust in adults really helps us get through everything.
I know the pandemic is putting everybody through a lot and it's changing how we think about things. But going back to the way they were with 30 kids in a classroom and just one teacher handling the stress of grading and all that, I think it's opened a lot of people's eyes to how the classroom can be reimagined and reshaped. And I feel like instead of shutting that out, it should be, hey, what else can we do?
The fact that it's really learner centered. Like, some schools say it's learner centered and that's just their title. The fact that like Fannie Lou actually like lives up to that, it's like wow. Like I obviously chose the right high school. And also I feel like it's so helpful for us learners because like I said, a lot of us don't find interest in most of the like lessons that traditional schools give.
That things that we already know that they're not gonna be useful for the future. You know what I'm saying?
When things happen and it comes to terms that, hey, this isn't working out no more, that's okay.
They focus on what would interest their students. I feel like that is really something that I want everybody to know about Fannie Lou because not only are we like a learner centered school, like we really are a learner centered school.
Breaking boundaries isn't bad. And it's almost look like you're destroying the system. And sometimes things are broken and we don't even know it.
I would say don't underestimate your students. You may sometimes see them struggle, but deep down, let me tell you, they have a power to like just change like, your whole world.